Good morning, everyone. Shavua Tov. So we're continuing Siman Rish Nun Gimel Seif Bet, talking about the laws of CHAZARA, putting items back onto the fire on Shabbat. And now we'll be talking about something that's yavesh, an item that is fully dried out, fully cooked. So let's take, for instance, chicken fingers. So it's already fully cooked, it's dry, and now you want to put it back onto a heat source on Shabbat in order to heat up. So the ruling we go with Rav Ovadia Yosef is that he's lenient even from the fridge, meaning it's not hot anymore, it's not warm anymore. Meaning when the Shulchan Aruch spoke about chazara, taking off from the fire and then having to hold it and having to now put it down, as we spoke about, and then putting it back, that's talking about an item that has wetness in it, that has liquid in it. Because liquid, davar lach, is something that always continues to cook, as we explained with water. And that's the way we were posek, that en bishur yesh bishul achar bishul bedavar lach. It's considered cooking, even though the item has been already cooked, the soup's already been cooked. Now you put it back on the fire from the fridge, let's say, it's considered cooking again, and therefore chazara in the Shulchan Aruch is talking about when it's wet, when it's a liquid. But something that's already dry, you could take it already cold and put it back onto the heat source. Now, what type of heat source? Ideally, a heat source like a hot plate, where a hot plate's plugged in and it doesn't look like an item that I usually cook on. There's no apparent fire. The fire is totally, fully covered, and that's where it's allowed. Over a blech, which is, we said, let's say a metal sheet, which is on top of an open fire, there's a discussion about it because we cook on the fire. And, okay, now I have a covering, so I'm not going to come and stoke the fire or anything like that, but can I reheat? Is it looking like I'm cooking in that situation? There's a debate about that. Now, the question is, what's considered dry? This gets to really the laws of bishul, but when talking about it, what's considered a dry food? So certainly like a cracker or a bread, and now you want to heat it up a little bit, warm it up. So that's dry. There's no oil that comes out of it. But the example that we gave, let's say the chicken finger, it's dry, but you know what? If you touch it, there's a little bit of oil on it, a little bit oily. So that the poskim say is considered still dry. It's not wet. Means when there's rotiv, when there's actual sauce. Now Rabbi Ovadia Yosef has a leniency, a chidush, that really we don't generally posek with, and Rav Shalom Asas argues on, and again, it should only be used if it is in a critical situation. Rav Ovadia Yosef says that we go with the majority of the item. So let's say you have Moroccan fish. Moroccan fish is pieces of fish, and you have some juice there. You have some sauce. So if majority is dry items, and the minority is the sauce, Rav Ovadia Yosef would say rov yavesh is considered yavesh, considered dry. Majority dry is considered dry, and you could reheat that from the fridge. And you have congealed oil there, but it's a minority. You could put that back onto the hot plate on Shabbat. That's Rav Ovadia Yosef's opinion, leniency. Rav Shalom Asas argues, and again, it should only be used if, let's say, I'm stuck. This is the only thing I have, etc. Then it should be used in that way. A better way to use it is if your hot plate's on a timer, and when you put it onto the hot plate, the timer's off, and the timer goes on afterwards. That is fine to do it that way. Just the reasoning for Rav Ovadia Yosef is, number one, is he brings poskim that hold that's considered yavesh, and plus he says maybe you could also add that when we said that en bishul achar bishul b'davar lach, that you're not allowed to recook something that's saucy, there are opinions that say, the minority opinions that say that no, you could recook liquid that is already cooked. We don't rule that way, but Rav Ovadia Yosef wants to use those minority opinions in addition to the opinions that say majority dry is considered dry, to build enough of a case to say majority dry is considered dry. But again, only to use that when necessary. Unless you are a person that does everything according to Rav Ovadia Yosef. And when I say everything, the litmus test, because sometimes there's a few leniencies that he has that say, I want to do like Rav Ovadia Yosef. So if you do everything like Rav Ovadia Yosef, then fine, you could do this also. And the litmus test is Rav Ovadia Yosef, though he was lenient in many ways, the main stringent thing he was on is that he didn't believe in wigs. So he believed in head coverings, like the old style, the mecherma, as they would say in the Spanish world, the turban head coverings. So if the litmus test is, if your wife covers her hair with not a wig, but with the head covering, like then okay, and you go with everything else of Rabbi Yosef, then you can take all of his leniencies too. If not, then okay, then you have to see who you go with, etc. So in this case, we're going to go with Rabbi Shalom Asas, that ideally not to warm up something that has oil, on the object, like a chicken finger, etc. Fine. So that has oil like a sauce, even though majority is dry, not to unless you are in a stuck situation. Okay, that's that for today. Minichat tonight at 6:35. Have a good day, everyone. Tanad Eliyahu.